YouTube, what's up? Since patch 2.6 came out and enemy lightning resist now applies to traps, it has really changed the trap assassin build and gearing options. I went with this full infinity holding version of the build to have a fast clear speed and high quality of life like my infinity holding Novasork. I made this build to farm terror zones on P8 as I level up the character. I will go over the gear in the Merc Setup, the stats and the skill points, and then I'll run through the Chaos Sanctuary, Cows, and Hell Andariel all on Players 8 online solo. Timestamps and links will be in the description below. I'll show you the gear for this Players 8 demonstration. Using Infinity and a Brandy Stock. Brandy Stock gives you minus 20 to attack speed, so it's basically getting 20% faster attack speed, which is important for laying traps. This also has minus 50 to enemy lightning resist, which now applies to enemies on patch 2.6. So that's the reason for holding Infinity on this. Another benefit to holding Infinity is you get plus 35 faster run walk, which is huge for the assassin's run speed. Griffin's Eye with a 5/5 facet in it for plus 17 and minus 23. A 30 all res Maras. Sandstorm Trex for the faster run walk, faster hit recovery, strength, vitality, and the 67 to poison resist. SOJ for the extra mana and the skill point. Arachnid's Mesh for the extra point, faster cast rate, and extra mana. Raven Frost, so I switched this. So I used to have 2 SOJs, but in the Cham in the Griffins, but I switched it out to have more damage, but then also to be a little bit safer. So you get Cannot Be Frozen on this ring. You also get the 42 mana, which is good, and then you get the 20% cold absorb. Triangles for the faster cast rate and the cold res. For a torch, I have a 1918 torch. For an Annie, I'm using an 1820 Annie. And then for small charms, because you are lacking on lightning res, I have a lot of lightning res small charms. So faster run walk, 11 light res, 2 strength, 10 light res, faster hit recovery, 10 light res, 5 faster hit recovery, 11 light res, 20 life, 11 light res, 2 dex, 11 light res 11, 5 all resistances charm, and then a 15 life, 11 poison res. This charm gets me over the 75. Trap skillers, I have all trap skillers, various amounts of other things. So one with 20 to life, plane, 14 life, damage, dex, plane, and 44 to life. On swap, I have a 654 CTA and a Eth Spirit. The Eth Spirit because it allows me to save 10 points, put those into vitality. Plus, I only need this for the pre-buff. My character page, you can see I'm landing on 146 strength, which is just enough to wear the Spirit Monarch Eth, and then everything else into vitality. Here's the res split. So fire res is low, but you'll see why. Cold resistances is not great. It's 33, but you get the 20% cold absorb, and cold is probably the least of your worries. Lightning resist, this was important to try and hit the max lightning res because of souls and various lightning things that do damage, really hurts you. And then poison res. For the advanced stats, 123 magic find from Enigma and the Infinity, 14 life after kill, which is good for fire blast bombs, but not the other trap. 103 faster run walk, so I run real fast. 30% faster hit recovery, so I'm hitting like a decent breakpoint, but not the best breakpoint for faster hit recovery. Assassin really doesn't get hit a whole lot because of the playstyle. You kind of lay traps and then you run around. So it's important to have faster run walk, which I like. I'm hitting the 65 faster cast rate breakpoint with Griffin's Eye, the Triangles, and Arachnid's Mesh. 50% damage taken goes to mana. If you've run traps, you kind of suck a lot of mana pots, but you'll see why I don't really need any pots for any of the runs. 20% cold absorb, slow target by 10% comes from Arachnid's Mesh, cannot be frozen from the Raven Frost, and then 17 to lightning skill damage and minus 73 enemy lightning resist, which is huge for the clear speed. For the mercenary setup, he's using a flickering flame, so this is where I get the level 7 fire resist aura, so that helps to boost your fire resist to max when you're outside of town. Using a chains of honor for the +2 skills and the 8 life leech, so this is the only source of life leech, which is basically what keeps your mercenary alive, so it's important to have life leech, plus the all resistances and strength, and physical damage reduced by 8. Using an insight with the 17 meditation, so that it's important to keep your mana fully up, so you don't have to worry about potting for mana. It's important to have insight on your mercenary because when you're teleporting around, it keeps your mana pool fully charged. He's a prayer mark, which helps to regenerate your life. So you'll be gaining life, and then plus it's synergy with meditation. So you get kind of double the life regen by having meditation as well as prayer. For my skill tree, nothing into the martial arts, 1 point into all these. So I bounce between fade and burst of speed. Burst of speed mostly. You may use fade for Ubers. And then for the trap tree, 20 points into fire blast, 20 points into shockweb, 20 points into charge bolt sentry. This is great for boss killing. 20 points into lightning sentry, and then 1 point into death sentry. 1 point into wake of fire, and then 19 points into wake of inferno. These are both synergies for fire blast. You do a lot more damage with fire blast. So here we're doing a players 8 chaos sanctuary run. So you can see the 65 faster cast rate teleport speed. As long as your Merc doesn't get surrounded, he survives pretty well on players 8. Death Sentry is really good for higher players count because the more life the enemies have, the more damage that it does. So you can see that even while poisoned, my life stays up. Dropping a lot of traps. Mana doesn't really go down at all. So as far as players 8 damage, it does pretty well. Players 8 quality of life, survivability, does pretty well. I guess you can say, other than Ubers, this is as hard as the game gets. I use Fire Blast Bombs a lot versus monsters that are lightning immune and broken by infinity because they still have a high resistance to lightning, so Fire Blast Bombs do a lot of damage versus them. So I think it's quicker to use Fire Blast Bombs. Plus, Fire Blast Bombs will give you 14 life after kill, whereas the regular traps won't. So you can see my life is almost full the whole time. A huge benefit to this setup and this build is the fast run speed. So you can see I'm able to just dodge and run around, run in between guys. So you can't play as aggressive as, you know, say your Nova Source holding Infinity, but it's certainly a slightly different play style and still good. So I'm amped up now and, oh, lost amped. Trap laying speed is pretty good. Drop the traps before. Again, this is players 8. Merc is doing fine. And then I use Charge Bolt Sentry and just lay them right on top of each other, and then supplement with Fire Blast Bombs. I feel like this is the quickest way to kill Diablo. At close range, all those charge bolts typically hit. So there you go. Players 8, Chaos Sanctuary, Infinity Holding version. So now we'll do a cow run. Players 8 cows. Starts off players 5, but the nice thing about cows is there's no resist that you have to worry about. And Fire Blast Bombs do a ton of damage here. Death Sentry is massive. You can probably get away, even in players 8 cows, you can probably get away with just doing Death Sentry traps along with Fire Blast Bombs, because once you get the first cow to go down, because they group up so well, they just seem to all go down. You do have to be worried about your Merc. You don't want him to get surrounded by cows, So as long as he's like attacking one cow at a time, he'll survive pretty well. So when I'm typically doing cows, I don't do a whole lot of aggressive teleporting. Especially with faster run walk, you can skip it. Yeah, so my method is a lot of traps, drop down a lot of traps, and then supplement with Fire Blast Bombs afterwards. Fire Blast Bombs do so much damage, and splash damage is great. And because of lightning traps, you have to max it out for a synergy, so might as well use them. I'm also not carrying a Sunder Charm because of that reason. So yeah, players 8 cows seem to drop pretty easily. And if you notice, I have not used a single pot. I haven't used a pot for health or mana the entire time. Nor have I given a pot to my Merc either. So you can see it does pretty well. Players 8 cows. So now we'll do a players 8 Andy run, just to show a different boss. Typically to the right of the waypoint. And Andy goes down real quick versus fire, so Fire Blast Bombs are key. So drop some traps and then Fire Blasts. Goes down pretty quick. Yeah, that's it. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to do so below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.